Good morning, children. I'm Radhika, your biology teacher at Dr. Basin School. Hope all of you are fine, safe at home, and enjoying with your parents. Okay. See, it's already 2 months since the school actually should have been started, but we could not start. So we are still continuing with the online videos, and like you can watch the videos, and we are having a regular interaction. Hope all of you are able to understand what we are teaching in these videos. And many of you, most of you are doing the works and sending to us. I'm very happy for that. Rest of you, those who are not doing, please do that work. Don't neglect, because see, it is already so much of time gone. Again, you will not get this precious time back. So I request all of you to complete the works. I want that you all complete the works and send. Okay. So as part of our distant learning program at Dr. Wilson School, we have completed two chapters, one of NS and one of PS. Okay, that is physics part. So now we are going to start the second chapter of biology. Okay, or rather we can say in science, what is the second chapter in your textbook? That we are going to start. So before going into that second chapter, a quick recap of what we have studied in first chapter. So what have we studied in the first chapter? We have studied about nutrition in the plants. Okay. So what are plants? How do the plants take the nutrition? We have seen that they undergo photosynthesis, that is autotrophic nutrition. Then I told that only some plants, most of the plants take up, but some plants don't take up nutrition by autotrophic processes. And they have another method that is called as what? Yes, that is called as heterotrophic nutrition. Next, in heterotrophic, I had explained about symbiotic nutrition, insectivorous plants were there. Then we have seen about saprozoic nutrition. Okay, so all these types we have seen. Parasitic nutrition. So like that we have seen all this. That means they are all not dependent on, they are dependent on other organisms for their food. Okay, that is about the nutrition in the plants. So now we should get it out what happens in the animals. Can we say animals are autotrophic? Yes, can we say? See, you may wonder a green colored caterpillar is there. Okay, or a green colored worm is there. I told that some red algae are there, brown algae are there. Like there are some red or brown colored animals are there. Then why they don't undergo photosynthesis? Did you get it out or not? Why they don't undergo? Caterpillars are green colored, no? So many grasshoppers are there, so many worms are there which are green colored ones, isn't it? So why don't they undergo photosynthesis? Yes, there is a reason. Though they are green colored, they cannot undergo photosynthesis. Why? What is absent in them? That is chlorophyll. What I have taught in the first chapter, that chlorophyll is needed for photosynthesis. So no animals will have this chlorophyll. That's why they cannot undergo photosynthesis. Though they are green color. And why they could be green color then? That is for their protection. See, in between the leaves, if the caterpillar is green colored, it cannot be seen by any bird, or larger animals like lizards or birds cannot see that. Then it will not be eaten easily. To protect itself, it camouflages. That means it shows the similar color of the leaves. Okay, so that is the reason they are green colored, but nothing else to do with photosynthesis. Okay, children. So we should be seeing today about the nutrition in the animals. Okay, I told that the animals will be heterotrophic, isn't it? Animals, all animals are heterotrophic in nature. That means they are dependent on others for their food. Okay, so nutrition in animals, first, what is it? Their first point is that they are heterotrophic. They are all heterotrophic in nature. Okay, now we can actually classify them. But all animals eat the same type of food. In lower class also is treated that some are meat eating animals, some are grass eating animals. Okay, there are some animals which eat both. Like this we have seen. Some would eat the dead bodies. Like that we have seen some, isn't it? So based on that we can differentiate them. Okay, so first I differentiate and explain. Then we can fill the table wherein similarly you will be able to tell very easily. Okay, actually you can also fill the table. So if it is heterotrophic nutrition in this, we can consider that They are, some of them are herbivorous. So what type of food would they eat? They are herbivorous. So what type of food would they eat? They would eat plants or plant parts. They eat only the plants or plant parts. Okay, that is about herbivorous. Next one we shall see. Examples I am not writing now. You just recollect what type of example could be there. Very easy examples. Just now also I have mentioned some of them. The next one is carnivorous. Okay. Carnivorous means what? Or we can say this one herbivores. Herbivorous is the nutrition. Herbivores is the name. Okay. Next one is carnivores. Okay, what they eat? They eat the flesh. Flesh or other animals like the insects, anything they can eat. Other animals. Okay, next one we shall see is omnivores. Eat both plants, plant parts, and other animals. It can be the flesh or insects or anything, other animals. Okay, last one is the scavengers. Okay, what will be scavengers? Eat dead animals. Okay, and their parts. So here I have divided them into 4 types. What are those? They are herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and scavengers. Herbivores would be eating only the plants, plant parts like the leaves. It can be the seeds, okay, or it can be the branches, twigs, grass. All that will be herbivores. Okay, then carnivores, it is flesh-eating animals like, okay, those which would be eating other animals' flesh or their parts. Okay, they don't eat that one. They don't eat the plant parts. If it is omnivores, they eat both plant parts as well as the animal parts or animals. Then they are called as omnivores. Then scavengers, which would be eating the dead parts. Okay, dead animals and all that. They are called as scavengers. Okay, so please first note down, then we shall fill the table. We shall see how much you have. Oh, you are able to do this. Okay, children. Okay. Okay, so you have completed this. Very good. If you have completed, we shall go to the table. See, all of you have got the textbook, notebook, no, eraser, pencil, everything with you, isn't it? So see, here in this textbook, I have got on page number 14, that is nutrition in animals. All of you open the textbook, please. If at all you have not brought the books, please go bring your books and sit with the books. Okay, so here see, we can see in this table, in stepping stones on page number 14, we have got a table. their animal is given, what it eats, and classification on the base of animals' eating habits. So we can fill this table. So what does the butterfly? First one is animal name. So what is the name? What does it eat? It eats. It eats. What does it eat? Think about it. By then I'll finish. So here we have seen this. So here only I'll add one or two examples so that you can remember. Then I'll help you fill the table also. Okay. So here herbivores examples. Can you help me writing? Yes. Without seeing also you all can write. Cow. Okay. Goat, etc. Okay. You want more examples? You can note down in your notebook. Examples: lion, tiger. Yes, there are so many, isn't it? You can write all those examples. Next, you can even write a dog. Okay, but we'll write here major ones. We shall write. The next one is what is it? Omnivores, which eat both. Yes. Some tell me, man is omnivore or not? Very good example is man, isn't it? Man. Okay. Then here scavengers, those which would be eating the dead organisms. They are vultures. Okay. Then you have got hyena is a very good example of dead animals. Then you have got crow is also a scavenger. It is actually it is omnivorous. It eats this one and this one. It is also a scavenger. Okay. So please note down this. Then I shall go to the next part. All of you have noted down. So I shall rub it off. Then I'll draw the table. Just drawing this table. Okay. Make this column bigger. Name of the animal, what it eats. This one is classification based on animals' eating habit. Okay. So first one he has given is butterfly. First one is butterfly. What it would be eating? What does butterfly eat? Yes, tell. Butterfly would be eating the. We know that it sucks the nectar from the flowers, isn't it? Nectar and leaves. Okay, it has got the small caterpillar that would be eating the leaves. Okay. Next, based on this, can we classify? So, what is it eating? It is eating only the plants or the plant parts. Nectar we are getting from the flowers. Similarly, leaves also from the plant. So, what name we can give to this? Yes, we can call it as a herbivore. Okay. Next one we shall see. We shall see that of pigeon. Second one is pigeon. Okay, so what does pigeon eat? Yes, pigeon eats both. What would it eat? It eats the seeds and insects. Have you seen pigeons? Okay, they're very nice. Okay, beautiful to look at, and they make nests wherever there is sufficient place. Like I have seen so many pigeons. They used to be there near in my house in the veranda. They used to regularly make nests and stay there. Okay, it was a wonderful sightseeing about those pigeons. Okay, only problem is that they make lot of noise. Okay, so due to that we get disturbed, or else they are beautiful. So I could get to see all these pigeons, their eating habits with the small young pigeons and the eggs. They used to make the nest, put the eggs inside, and then they used to take care of the young ones. Okay, one would be there in the nest, the other parent would go and get the food. Okay, and then they would feed them, and I could see that with the nose how nicely they would be feeding their young ones. Really wonderful. Okay, children. So if at all you get to watch, you should always watch these animals also carefully. Should not disturb them from far. You can watch their habits, how they take care of their young ones, what are their eating habits, what is their behavior. All that randomly you can watch any animal on the side, or you can go to the terrace or on the branches how they are behaving. Any animal you can watch. Okay, so here they eat the seeds insects. So what name can I give to this? What name can I give? Seeds insects both it is eating, no? Can I say it's an omnivore? Yes, it's an omnivore because see, seeds from the plants and insects are the animals. Next one, third one we shall see is that of cow. So what is cow again? What does it eat? Grass, leaves, isn't it? So we already know that it is an herbivore. Okay, now after this we shall see what is the next one given. Elephant. Elephant also same only, no? It also eats the leaves, and grass, all those things. Okay, it would eat the fruits also. So what we can call it is also a herbivore. It is also an herbivorous animal. Now we shall go to the last one, that is after elephant two more are there. Woodpecker. Have you seen a woodpecker? It will have the bird could be small only, not very big, but it will have a long, okay, the mouth. Okay, what we call that the beak. Okay, the beak would be very long. Why do you think it is very like to poke into the wood? It will be very nice. Okay, so with that, why it will poke like that? It will poke and it will take out the insects and eat from that. Okay, that is the reason it is like that. Okay, it eats the insects, sap, and also it will suck the sap, and it made the insects also they eat. Okay, so they are omnivores. Okay, children, next one. Next one, octopus. It will eat the small animals. Okay, as it eats some small animals, we call it as carnivorous. Okay, So like this, we have seen these eating different feeding habits. We have completed filling this table. Next, we shall go to the other part. Okay, so hope you all have understood. We have completed this table. So please note down this. Then we shall go to the next part. Okay, children. So you have completed. So I just rub it off. Okay. So till now we have studied what are these? These are the habits. Okay, now when they are eating the food, how actually they are eating the food? What is the method? See in the plants we have seen that they are making their own food. After that the food goes to each and every part of the plant. So what is happening there? The food is ready made. First thing. Second thing is that it is going from the leaves to all parts. That also we have seen. So in those parts what will happen? So within the body only the food is moving, isn't it? And that food will be digested in all those cells. That means that food could be taken up directly by the cells in the plants. Like that it is available. But in case of animals, they have to first fetch the food. Okay, already we know how either they will be hunting or they go graze. Okay, so like this process, in that what they are doing, what are the animals doing in that process? They are somehow find wherever they find the food, they would be eating the food. Now, for eating the food, what should we have? How we are eating the food? We are eating the food with the mouth, isn't it? We are eating the food with the mouth. Then many animals you have observed have got the mouths. Like all the mammals here, whatever we see, like the cows, buffaloes, goats, donkeys, dog, cat, sheep, all these we can find that there is a particular mouth. Isn't it? Even in the insects also. Okay, what you carefully observe, you'll find the mouth, isn't it? Cockroaches. Okay, but with the help of only mouth, they are able to take. We are able to take the food with the help of the mouth, and inside we have got the tongue. Okay, so you would have seen very wonderful methods by which they can take the food. Okay, so this process where we all take the food into our body, whether we are eating with the mouth or if it is the birds, they are eating with the help of the beak. Okay, so or if it is another insects are there like the butterflies are there. Okay, how they'll be having long two needle-like structures in the front. Have you observed carefully? So that they are able to pierce into the put it deep into the flower. See, the flower could be longer, but still they are able to take is because of that long structure that is called as proboscis. Okay, so with that they are able to take. So like this I'll tell some more wonderful examples. So this process wherein we take the food, that is called as ingestion. That is called as ingestion. Now after that what happens to the food in the body? It will go into the body. In that there should be something should happen to the body. The body should prepare for that. No. So here in the body what it does, it will digest. Whatever food is eaten, that will be much larger. The body cannot take, it will break that into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces. So that breaking down of smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, that is called as digestion. Okay, then the third one, that is when it has to, like after digestion it has to take. See, we have got a separate digestive system. Okay, and the animals have got a digestive system. So after the digestion, my brain wants the food, my hands want the food, my legs want the food. But how it will go? The digestive system is here. From there it has to go to each and every part of the body or not. So that process where the food is absorbed from the digestive system. Okay, and then it is carried to each and every part. That means from the tip to the toe. That is head to toe, each and every part of my body will receive the food by the process of absorption. Everything we are going to study in detail, step by step, we will see how it will happen so nicely. Then the fourth one, after digestion, what will happen? The body will use that. Okay, the body will use that. Our body, each and my brain is there. Now I am speaking, talking to you all. It needs lot of energy, isn't it? So the cells in the brain will convert that food into energy. So this process where the cells or the body parts can convert the food to produce energy, that is called as assimilation. And the last one, whatever else, the undigested food is there in the digestive system, the food is getting digested, okay, but there will be something that will not be digested, it will remain waste. So that the body wants to throw outside, it cannot keep all the waste in the body. So that process where it is throwing the waste outside, that is called as egestion. Okay, that is called as egestion. So what are the steps? First briefly I will write, then today I will explain only about these. Okay, briefly I shall explain about these. Next class I shall explain in detail. So they are steps of nutrition. First one is ingestion. Okay, second one is digestion. You should remember all these four names that I am telling. Okay, then third one is absorption. Fifth one is assimilation. Last one is ingestion. Okay, children. So here we have seen all the 5 steps. Okay, so in this we shall be seeing. Okay, each one when I explain, I will give the definition again. So there you can write. So here we shall see first one is what happens, how the food is taken. So if you note down, I shall start explaining about ingestion first. Okay, so you can just write here, I will just leave it. First one I shall explain. Okay, if it is in very single unicellular organisms, see there are wonderful organisms that we cannot see with the naked eye. Again in 8th class we shall be studying in detail about all these organisms. For now briefly I will tell, that is very little I will tell because you have to understand what they are. Okay, so like that there are some millions and millions of such organisms which are so small that we cannot see with the naked eye. We need a microscope. We have got microscopes in our lab, isn't it? So with the help of those microscopes we are able to see. There are an organism still smaller than them that we cannot see with our microscope that is there in the laboratory. We need a better microscope for that. That we get to see in the colleges and also in the research labs. Okay, that we don't go in detail now. So like that, as part of that, we see that there are such smallest or the tiniest unicellular animals. They are the unicellular. Unicellular means every living organism is made up of a cell, that we shall be studying in 8th class in detail. For now, so these are made up of cells. Our whole body is made up of cells, not that phone cell. Okay, these are some structures that we shall study in 8th and 9th class in detail. So those structures are there in each and every living organism. Could be as small as the bacteria to the largest animal, that is the blue whale. Okay, to that every organism is made up of these cells only. So now there are some animals or the plants which are made up of only one such single cell. One single cell. Okay, among them the important animals that are single celled. Okay, there are examples like amoeba. Okay, like amoeba. The example for that is here, right? Amoeba. Okay, you should understand this. That's why I am writing amoeba paramecium. Paramecium. Every book gives a, okay. Here both are, here I write about them, unicellular, that is made up of single cell. Okay, unicellular animals, they are animals. So they have to eat the food, isn't it? If it is the plants, they are able to synthesize the food on their own. But these are animals, so they have to eat the food. How they will eat? So in the surroundings, whatever is there, that they will take into that single cell. So nicely as given. Captures. So how it is able to capture? It is able to capture the food. That means in the surroundings, the food will be there. That it is able to eat. Just like we are spreading, the animals are spreading the legs or hands and eating, no, like that it will eat. That is that special structure, or it has got a special structure that is called as pseudopodia, that we shall be studying in detail later. Okay, unicellular. So what it has got? Ingestion with the help of pseudopodia. It has got a structure pseudopodia. It has got this structure that will to engulf. Engulf means to take the food inside. Mingadam. Mingutam kada annam tinesi. So that taking in the food into the mouth, that is called as engulf. Okay, so we are engulfing the food into the mouth. So for that process, to engulf the food. Okay, so that is done by pseudopodia in case of amoeba. Similarly, if it is paramecium, okay, paramecium will do with the help of mouth-like organ. It doesn't have a mouth-like part. Okay, helps in engulfing the food. Engulfing the food. It has got a mouth-like organ to engulf the food. Okay, so this is about a single cell. If it is a multicellular organism, we have to take with the help of mouth. Okay, like that. If it is a butterfly, okay, this is the first one. Second one we shall see about butterfly. How the butterfly is taking? It has got proboscis with long needle-like structure that is there, no? So that is called as proboscis. Next time you observe, now it is rainy season, no? So you are getting lot of butterflies. Okay, it with the help of a long needle-like structure, that is proboscis. Next one is about hydra. Okay, hydra, or similarly easy one to remember is octopus. Okay, hydra is somewhat bigger than amoeba and paramecium. Even then we have to see under the microscope. So similar to hydra, one more easily that you can remember that I will give, that is octopus. Okay, easy for you all to remember. How it will take octopus? Have you seen the octopus in the Discovery Channel? It will have 8 arms, isn't it? With the help of those arms, it is taking in the food. Okay, with arms I will call. Okay, with arms it is able to take the food. Okay, then hydra has got tentacles. I will write hydra also for example. Hydra tentacles. Okay, so we have seen so many examples this time. Okay, and last one I forgot. Spider will inject the venom, then it will take the food inside. Okay, so you can note down that also. Apart from these, we have seen, see, amoeba, paramecium with the help of this amoeba will take with the help of pseudopodia, paramecium will take with the help of mouth-like organ. Then butterfly takes the food inside with the help of proboscis. Then octopus takes the food with the help of those arms. And then hydra, it has got long tentacles. Okay, when you come to the school, I will show in the lab, the slide is there. There you can see the hydra. I will explain how it will be taking the food inside. Then spider will first inject the venom, then it will take the food inside. Then there is one starfish. Okay, that is there in our lab. Okay, it will take the stomach outside. With the help of that, it will take the food inside. Like this, wonderful methods are there. So these steps we are going to study in the next video, where I will explain with the help of the diagram also. Okay, children. Till then, please read all these, underline. Okay, and be ready for the next class. Thank you, children.